All right, guys. Got another story for you guys here. It's starting to get more and more obvious that Israel just has a chokehold on our politics and our politicians, as well as, of course, the president of the United States. Uh, as you can see here, this story just came about like an hour ago or so. It says U.S. states and cities that boycott Israel companies will be denied federal aid for natural disaster preparedness, the Trump admin has said per Reuters. So they basically said today, uh, if states and cities, if you boycott Israel, companies, boycott Israel, or basically speak out against Israel, or the genocide that they're doing, we're gonna strip your FEMA funds, the natural disaster funds, and this comes like what a month after that tragic flash flood in Texas that killed all those little girls, and if something like that happens, and you strip federal funds, federal natural disaster funds, you gonna let that could cost lives, and you're costing lives, so Israel can get no backlash for the genocide that they're doing in Gaza, starving kids, starving people. Uh, like, where is this coming from in your heart? Or do you just you're just you have to be Israel over America at that point? You have to be. I see no other argument for that. Left or right, I'd love to hear the argument for it. I'd love to hear the right's argument for this. This screams Israel first. It can't be any more blatantly obvious than this here. Punishing American citizens for speaking out against Israel. I mean, it doesn't get more Israel first than that. Uh, so I got some more things for you guys here. Following that, we had this article here by Reuters, which was basically who came up with this whole this whole story. So U.S. links 1.9 billion in state disaster funds to Israel boycott stance. Uh, U.S. states and cities that boycott Israel companies will be denied federal aid for natural disaster preparedness. The Trump administration has announced tying routine federal funding to its political stance. Uh, the Federal Emergency Management Agency that stated in grant notices posted on Friday that states must follow its terms and conditions. Those conditions require they certify they will not sever commercial relations, specifically with Israeli companies, to qualify for funding. So they're basically, in simple terms, they're American safety potentially is contingent on their stance on Israel. This is basically the same thing that he's done with the tariff deals with Canada, France, and things of that nature, and those countries. Our aid with you guys and our tariff stance with you guys is contingent on your stance on Israel. If you guys are not for Israel, we'll put harder tariffs on you, which is only going to come back on Americans again. And if you're more lenient with us in Israel, then we'll lower the tariffs on you. It's just like basically Israel's second state. Basically, it's just us. It seems like we're the United States of Israel. You cannot, in no situation with this admin, can you separate the United States and Israel. Our terrorists deal with Israel. Now our federal aid is dealing with Israel. A lot of things is just, even on college campuses, he was threatening defunding them over Israel. Everything has to deal with Israel now. And it's really the whole Washington, D.C., like I've been over at this point, that left and right is really, controlled by Israel, the majority at least. And it's sad to see. But continuing with this article, it says the requirement applies to at least 1.9 billion that states rely on to cover search and rescue equipment. emergency manager salaries, and backup power systems, among other expenses, according to 11 agency grant notices reviewed by Reuters. The requirement is the Trump administration's latest effort to use federal funding to promote its views on Israel. And this comes after Donald Trump admittedly, or somebody reported it, where he was telling Israel basically, his base is losing their support and not supporting them anymore. They're starting to hate Israel, I believe, the exact words that he said. So, he knows that, the American people are starting to not like Israel and what's going on in Israel. And he's trying to quiet that down, I feel like, here with this move that he made. But to continue, the Department of Homeland Security, the agency that oversees FEMA, in April said that boycotting Israel is prohibited for states and cities receiving its grant funds. FEMA separately said in July that U.S. states will be required to spend part of their federal terrorism prevention funds from helping the government arrest migrants and administration priority. I thought I was gonna say something else, but yeah, man. I mean, I just can't believe what I'm reading. And I was disappointed with Israel, or the Biden administration's stance on Israel last year, because I was a supporter for Israel for a little bit, of course, after the October 7th attacks was brutal. But probably around, the summer months last year, I started to see, it's starting to look intentional. Like they are starting to like things like this. And, it's super obvious now with, basically what the government's doing. We'll get more into the government in this video as well. What they've been doing. It's just like, Ben Gvir, people like that in their parliament is just openly saying it. It's hard to look past it. You can't look past it. They're blatantly saying it, and basically our government is saying, it's just a hiccup, and trying to hide it. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. But I think this is it for this article. It says the Israel requirement takes aim at BDS, the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, designed to put economic pressure on Israel to end its occupation of Palestinian territories. The campaign's supporters grew more vocal in 2023, and Hamas attacked southern Israel, and Israel invaded Gaza in response. DHS will enforce all anti-discrimination laws and policies, including as it relates to the BDS movement, which is extremely grounded in anti-Semitism, and spokesperson for Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem said in a statement. And I just wanted to say this. I also think this is an attack on free speech, the First Amendment as well. But, imagine if, they would never have a law like this for any other country. Like if it was a Iranian company, or something like that, that they wouldn't be doing this stuff to them. A Russian company, that there's no laws behind that. It's only Israeli laws. Why is that? Obvious, and it's just so obvious. They've controlled our government for so long. These BDS laws has been in law for so long, and it's just for Israel. It's just starting to become so obvious. To continue reading, it says the requirement is largely symbolic. At least 34 states have anti-BDS laws or policies, according to a University of Pennsylvania Law Journal. The BDS movement did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The American Jewish Committee supports the Trump administration's policies, said Holly Huffnagel. The group's director of anti-Semitism policy. The AJC is an adversary group that supports Israel. And just to finish, under one of the grant notices posted on Friday, FEMA will require major cities to agree to the Israel policy to receive a cut of 553.5 million set aside to prevent terrorism in dense areas. New York is due to receive 92.2 million and 92.2 million from the program. The most of all recipients' allocations are based on the agency's analysis of relative risk of terrorism, according to the notice. So this is all you need right here, guys. I mean, I was brain dead reading that. Under one of the grant notices posted on Friday, FEMA will require major cities to agree with the Israel policy. Will require U.S. major cities to agree with the Israeli policy. That makes no sense, guys. I mean, I don't know what else to say about it. I think more and more people will start to wake up to these things. Even I have friends that's starting to wake up to, Israel starting to they're not even trying to hide it. They control whatever they want to control in this country. How do you really get rid of it when they're so deep rooted? APAC, things like that. Just such a stronghold on our politics. But there's ways to get around it. Like people like Zoran Mamdani, for example, one of the people to break through it, where every other candidate was pro-Israel, and he was saying he was America first, and that resonated. And I think the right thought Donald Trump was kind of the same way. Where he says America first, and he's screaming that, and we all knew he wasn't. He's Israel first. Knew that since his first campaign. And like I said, this is coming from a person that didn't like the Biden stance with Israel as well. Obviously, he was very pro-Israel, but it wasn't to this extent. On making our safety contingent on if we follow Israel policies or not. Explicit, as you can see, just straight from the article. It's literally verbatim. If we don't follow Israel policies, then we don't get federal or natural disaster funding, FEMA. And like I said, this you saw what happened to the girls in Texas or last year with the storms in Florida and South Carolina, homes destroyed, and that's all contingent on how they act towards Israel. So that's absolutely ridiculous. But just to show you, I want to show you guys exactly who we're dealing with Israel. This man Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, fired the Attorney General prosecuting him for corruption in Israel today. I mean, this is the things that Joseph Stalin did with the Soviet Union. This is stuff fascists did. Adolf Hitler would do stuff like this. Like, how dare you prosecute me for corruption? He wouldn't go to court or anything like that. Just fired him. This is the type of stuff fascists do. It says here, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government unanimously voted Monday to fire Attorney General Gali Bahar Mira, who is currently prosecuting him for corruption. The Supreme Court immediately issued an injunction blocking the move. Okay. But he still ended up firing, by the way. But why it matters, this is the first time an Israeli government has ever voted to fire an attorney general. The move sparked immediate accusations. Netanyahu was seeking to protect himself and his aides. Of course he is, because he's still being prosecuted by the UN, and I think he's keeping his genocide up so he doesn't have to go face his consequences there as well. But in addition to prosecuting Netanyahu in his ongoing trial, Bahar Famir is also investigating his advisor's alleged Qatar connections. The resolution is one in a series of challenges to Israel's democratic institutions under Netanyahu, which predated the war in Gaza and have continued during it. Yes, but before the cabinet vote, The Supreme Court told the government this procedure for firing the Attorney General was inappropriate and made clear it was an injunction if it passed. Okay. Once it did, the court swiftly ruled that the Attorney General would maintain all her authorities, and the government won't be allowed to name a replacement. The firing won't come into effect until the Supreme Court rules on the immediate appeals against it. I mean, like, it's so obvious. Even though it's still blatantly crazy that they actually voted to fire this attorney general. I mean, that's crazy. Donald Trump wouldn't even do that shit. I mean, I'm sure he'd like to if he got prosecuted for something like this. He did fire that statistician over fake numbers, and they were real numbers. But even the fact that he voted for that is crazy. I mean, it said that the courts blocked the vote to kick her out, essentially. But I mean, I'm sure that she's still gonna get fired because at this point, this far right government doesn't really care about anything. They'll fire whoever, they'll kill whoever at this point. Sorry. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that one. I mean, it's still crazy. And then this is the final story I have here for you guys. This is still on the same day. This is all in the same day. After Netanyahu voted to fire that attorney general, Netanyahu says decision is made for full occupation of Gaza. And this is a short article. I'll just read it. It's pretty much word for word what it is. The Prime Minister's office said to the Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Ayol Zamir, that if this does not suit him, you should resign. If Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu confirmed Monday that the decision has been made for the full occupation of the Gaza Strip. In a message, the Prime Minister's office said to the Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Ayol Zamir, that if this does not suit him, you should resign. So yeah, I mean, they want to fire attorney generals. They want to fully occupy Gaza. The United States is saying if you don't cooperate with Israel, then we'll strip your federal aid funds. Israel this, Israel that. It's a lot of things to process. Just everything is contingent on what Israel says, and it's disgusting. I mean, we need something to break through here. Our politicians won't do it. They're too loaded in AIPAC money. You need to start seeing more of things like what Canada's doing. Recognizing the Palestinian state, France. You need all of Europe to start doing it just to, get the ball rolling on some peace here. Because, I don't think Trump, everybody says how he's pro-peace. I don't think he's pro-peace here at all. It sounds like he's aiding more of this fully occupation of Gaza. I mean, I'm sure they've talked about this before. Even earlier this year, he was talking about how they could rebuild it and, it'd be more waterfront property and shit like that. He can rebuild it and, basically take control of it. And just, typical, I mean, this fits exactly for verbatim for me, genocide, the word genocide. I don't see how you can look past it at this point, how it can't be genocide. They're starving the people, pushing the people out, and then now they want to fully occupy Gaza. Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's a lot of things moving one day, and it's all going towards Israel, everything pro-Israel, whatever they want, they can get at this point. It's just got to stop.